thank you for allowing us to host this event in your beautiful garden to commemorate mesothelioma and patients that have experienced asbestos disease in the Swindon area. I'm going to invite former Councillor Pajak to speak now to explain about the history of the mesothelioma garden and to say a few words.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody. This has been a long time waiting because we used to do these on a quite regular basis. But I think from the last time we actually had a get-together like this, it was about 6 or 7 years ago. It's amazing how times have changed and all the things that came in between, from COVID to everything else. So it's good to be back. I think it sounds like a thing for a pop group, doesn't it? But Swindon's history is all about the railways. It's a railway town. No two ways about it. It's a railway town. And it has so many connections with the railways. I mean, during the 1930s, you had 14,000 people working the Great Railway Works. That's 5,000 people more than the population of Marlborough today. Incredible. It was such a railway influence. And obviously, if you're looking at actually the railway works itself, the A shop actually is 11.25 acres large. That was one of the largest covered areas in the whole world. So Swindon's success in the railways came at a terrible price. And that price was the cancer of mesothelioma caused by the asbestos that was used so much in the manufacturing and in the railways. It was that disease. And nobody knew about it at the time. You hear stories about actually rolling up the white asbestos and even playing football with it. Nobody knew actually the dangers that was inherent in mesothelioma and the asbestos that caused it. Today's world is so much changed. When you hear about asbestos being found in a building, they close the building down, they send people in hazmat suits to go in and remove it. How times have changed, but that wasn't known at the time. And mesothelioma is one of those terrible diseases in the sense it's got a latency period of actually 14 to 45 years. That's just incredible. So you can feel great 1 minute and then suddenly it comes to you. I'll just give a couple of examples to that. I mean, Rex Barrett, one of the most popular mayors we had in Swindon, died from mesothelioma. But also Jeff Peace, who actually was one of the people actually was famous for the Western Players. But also he was actually part of the Queen's Park Community Council when we had it here. And we had one of these events there, and he came up to me and said, what was it about? He didn't know what was going on. And off he went. And a week later, he came back to me and said he'd just been diagnosed with mesothelioma. That was the last time I ever saw him, because within a year he was dead. He never came to another event here. It just shows you how vigilant and actually how we have to be so careful with. That's examples, and there's many more. Hundreds of people have died from mesothelioma, and that's why it became known as the Swindon disease. And in 2002, there was a big campaign by families, and the Eden Advertiser it was then, to raise funds for a monument to remember those people. And they succeeded in that. In fact, £12,000 was raised. So the original mesothelioma garden was created in 2003. And I had the great honour of being the mayor at the time there, to open it. But so times have changed, and obviously we've actually had dramatic improvements. Down to the South Swindon Parish Council are so well represented today. So I do give them their thanks for that. They created a new wonderful garden, as we see behind us. And in fact, actually, their head gardener he's just there. He's actually there. He actually designed it. Richard Pinchon. Pinchon, is that good?
Yeah.
But once again, we can celebrate Mesothelioma Day, and that's what this is all about. Actually, with the help of RWK Goodman, who actually are leaders in this, legal compensation. We can actually do this again. It's an opportunity, I believe, to pay tribute to all those who have died from mesothelioma in our town, and to pledge through this garden and our event here that we will remember them. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to invite Councillor Firmin to say a few words. It's over to you, Councillor Firmin.
Thank you. So first of all, welcome. One of the 3 town centre parks that we look after as the parish. And for those of you who are going to wander around afterwards, to give you a bit of context, this park was established between the 40s and the 60s, and it's gradually developed over time and become very mature. We took it over in about 2018 and are gradually trying to improve things. One of those was to redo this garden, as Stan said, and as well as Richard, who designed it and did some of the work, we've also got Paul and Nikki here as well, who help look after our park. So what we also do here is try to make it more accessible in the time that we've been in charge of it. So we can now go around it in wheelchairs, and it's accessible to everybody. In terms of what Stan was also mentioning, in terms of the redesign of this that we did, we had a lot of support from a local resident called Dr. Michael Smith. And there's a wheel that is up on the space up there where we'll go for refreshments. So if you just want to take a quick look at that. There's also a secret garden just up here to the left. And if you go further down, there's our main pond as well. So there's a lot of features, and there's a walkway you can go all the way around as well. So in terms of looking forward, we're now looking to do some more work around what was the old greenhouse over there, and also to try and improve the pond. So there's always things we're looking to do, but do take some time to look around, and also do join us afterwards for refreshments, where you can see the big green gazebo just above the pond.
You'd like to say a few words?
Thank you very much, thank you. And I was just reflecting on how the garden was created at a time when perhaps people were becoming ill with this and maybe unaware. And it's lovely actually that we've got this memorial back here in the heart of Swindon, as it, you know, it's kind of almost a full circle, I think, really. So yeah, I thank you very much. I think it is really, really important to remember people, mainly men, isn't it, really, who paid the price for our safer working environment now. I'm really aware of the effect of mesothelioma, and I might refer it to as the Swindon disease because I can't pronounce that very well. When I started my nurse training, I moved to Swindon in 1988 and started my nurse training. My first placement was on a medical ward, and this brought it all back to me, the 6 men on the ward who were ill at different stages and wondering, some of them knew they had the Swindon disease and others were maybe facing that diagnosis, and just the camaraderie to them together and us supporting them, and that was my first awareness of the Swindon disease. And this has very much brought it all back to me, and the families that were affected, you know, there you could see, it's generations, isn't it? It's those people that were ill at the time and their families. It doesn't end, so it's really, really important to remember. And I thank you so much for this opportunity. This is a huge part of Swindon's history, and it has made changes. And because men went through it and families have gone through it, we need to remember and honour them. So it's just really important. And thank you very much for inviting me. And that's all I've got to say, really.
Thank you for inviting me. So my name's Lynne Squibb, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of HASAG, Asbestos Disease Support. And our charity was set up almost 20 years ago after my father was diagnosed with mesothelioma. And coincidentally, our story is very similar to that of what we're talking about today. My dad worked his entire life at the railway works in Eastleigh. We call Eastleigh the same disease in Eastleigh, with hundreds of men were diagnosed with mesothelioma after working at the railway works. Exactly the same work that was carried out here in Swindon, and he sadly only survived 10 months after diagnosis. And after he passed away, we felt as a family that we couldn't sit and do nothing. We needed to help others that were affected by this disease and affected so badly in our locality, and quickly realised that there were so many other areas where there were hotspots. And I've visited Swindon on so many occasions to see patients that worked at the railway works and have subsequently gone on to develop mesothelioma. The support that we offer are home visits to patients. We offer a full benefit service where we complete benefit entitlements to patients when they're diagnosed. We signpost them to law firms such as RWK Goodman, and we offer counselling, coffee mornings, buddy services. We have our own nurse specialist, and we have events like this at Mesothelioma Day, and we also raise funds for research, and we're really proud to have been able to donate over £1.3 million towards mesothelioma research over the last 20 years. There's still a long way to go. I pray that one day that there will be a cure for this dreadful disease, but really proud to have been part of the change in medical services that are available to patients. So So please do take our booklets on the Withy King's table and come and have a chat with me. But I'm incredibly proud to be here today to support this event, and the garden's beautiful, and it's just given me some thought about something that we may be able to do in Eastleigh in memory for people of the town of Eastleigh too. So thank you for inviting me today.